Unique gauges are some of the most important aspects that determine how good a unit is in the meta. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are unique. So today we're gonna take all 71 units that have unique gauges and rank them in tiers to truly see who has the best unique gauge in the game. So before we start, I just want to mention that this idea was taken from Playbox. He did a video about this like 2 years ago, and you can sort of say that this is an updated version. We have 6 tiers right here: insane, great, okay, mid, meh, and trash. And we have 71 different units with different unique gauges. Each one does different things, so we're gonna rank all of them today. It's gonna be a long video, so without talking too much, let's start with the first one. So going by chronological order, we're gonna start with the first unit right here, and it's going to be Elif Purple UI Sign Goku, the first ever unit with a unique gauge. The Ultra Instinct unique gauge is obviously one of the best unique gauges in the game, having the ability to control the games, the sub counts, get your vanish back, all that good stuff. Yeah, and with UI Sign being a good unit on release as well, his unique gauge was a very good unique gauge. The dodging is insane with the UI, allows a lot of different plays, so I will straight up put UI Sign's gauge in great. Very great start. UI Sign are great. Elif Purple Cell. So this is the old Cell. His gauge wasn't anything crazy. The main problem with it was the fact that it took too long to fill up, especially on his release. His Splat equipment that came out shortly after his release helped with that quite a lot. Giving him like straight up 35% of the unique gauge at the start of battle, so that really helped a lot. His gauge gave a lot of different buffs, such as I think he gave vanish back, he gave more damage. His damage went very crazy after his unique gauge, so we're gonna put it in mid. It wasn't anything crazy and it wasn't like bad, so let's move to the next guy. Sword of Hope Trunks, one of my favorite units. His gauge was definitely interesting. I think, okay, it was a one-time disrupt. I think on his release it only reduced 50 ki when it filled up, but it enhanced his ultimate. It made his ultimate such a nuke. It enhanced his damage. It made his damage so much better and all that good stuff. And the disrupt was decent, so I'll put it in mid as well. Ultra Super Gogeta. Okay, this is such a big one. The blue card generator. And with his blue card being a nuke, allowing him to destroy cards and do all that good stuff. His gauge filled up extremely fast, and it gave him a blue card every single time. Nothing much to say about it. It was just great, and I'll put it in great. Ultra Blue Kaioken Goku. I think this is such a good one as well. It's a charge type gauge that gives him vanish back when filled up, gives him a green card, gives him card draw speed. So it gives a lot of good buffs and it fills up relatively fast. So I think this is a great as well, a great one. I'm gonna put it in great. Mastered UI Goku, our first ever MUI Goku during the 4th anniversary headliner. The stalling, the counter, so he basically had everything that UI Sign had, but the counter damage on top of all of that. So MUI, insane, nothing much to say about him. Dragon Fist Goku, I think this is an interesting one, because the gauge itself is crazy. Dragon Fist gauge itself, the buffs that it gives, makes his main ability probably the best main ability in the whole game. Vanish reduction, his ult is definitely a one-shot, double card draw speed, vanish back, all that good stuff. But the only problem with this is that the gauge took way too long to fill up. It's sort of like Evo Vegeta, which we're gonna get to in a bit. So it takes a lot to fill up, so you have to invest in this unit. He's sort of a selfish unit that you need to invest a lot in him. But the end result was very good since you get a guaranteed one shot. So I'll put it in okay. It's nothing crazy, but it's very good. Ultra Super Vegito. I think trash. Nothing more to say. This gauge really wasn't doing anything to USV. So let's move to the next one. Ultra Broly. I think this is a very underrated one since he's disrupt, he's tanking. With him being a bulky character, this gauge disrupting, reducing vanish, reducing ki, destroying cards, all that good stuff. And it fills up relatively fast, it resets a lot as well, so it's not a one-time use gauge. So I'll put this straight up in great. I think this is an amazing unique gauge. Blue Beast Gohan. First of all, this is my goal. Second of all, this is probably one of the best unique gauges in the game. 15 counts of cover null, double card draw speed, Easy to reset with the green card, and when you reset it with the green card, you get Vanish back and you destroy the whole enemy hand. And the blue card also resets it, and when you reset it with the blue card, you get your Vanish back as well, and you go type neutral with the blue. Just a lot of insane stuff with this guy's unique gauge. Insane for sure, nothing more to say. Ultra Gogeta Blue. The counter was crazy on release. The ability to just make him go type neutral, give him a blue card, destroy enemy strikes. His blue card doing a lot of damage at the time. This gives him cover as well, the unique gauge, so I'm just gonna straight up put it in insane. MVP 17. His unique gauge wasn't the best, simply because the gauge itself took a little while to fill up. And when you fill it up, it doesn't really give buffs at that moment. It just buffs his green card, making him able to get cover null with it and card draw speed. And it makes him able to do that double vanish, which is actually very useful. It gives him vanish back when he vanishes. So that's actually very good. Just because of that reason, I'm gonna actually put it in okay. Ultra Hit. The time skip, man. The gauge does nothing but gives you access to the time skip. And that time skip is one of the most broken mechanics we've ever seen. The guaranteed one shot on that is crazy. And just the fact that you can do it multiple times a match is absolutely insane. I think Ultra Hit's gauge is easily a great gauge. Revival UI Goku. I think this is a little worse than UI Sign and MUI. It's still a great gauge, of course, because it still has all the UI factors, but it's just the fact that you have half of the game, basically, not the whole game. And I think it doesn't have a lot of ways to restore it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I could be wrong on that. But Rev UI is gonna go in gray. Ultra Goku Black. This is definitely an interesting one because it has very similar issues to Dragon Fist. Dragon Fist's gauge was a very good gauge, but took long to fill up. Basically the same issue with Ultra Rose. The gauge is very good. When you deplete it, you get your Vanish back, you get an additional ultimate twice, so he has a total of 3 ultimates in his kit. And it was the only way to grab cover null back when this guy released. But it took way too long to fill up. It's crazy, so just for that reason I'm gonna put it in okay. Next to Dragon Fist actually. Buu Duo, I don't wanna spend a lot of time on this. Trash. The prep mode just wasn't good enough, so let's move on. Ultra Kid Buu. I think this is one of the more underrated ones. His gauge was crazy. Double card draw speed, making his green card draw a blue card. Lock in blue card, all that good stuff with Ultra Kid Buu. We all know how good Kid Buu was on release, easily the best unit in the game. And that gauge flowed very well with his kit, so easily a great gauge. Goku and Frieza. This gauge does one thing, but that one thing is so insane and can win you matches, control you matches, which is the Rise and Rush counter. Especially back then when comebacks and all that good stuff didn't exist. This was the only way to defend against rushes. And they had so much value, especially with units having endurance null on rush being relevant back then, like Ultra Gogeta Blue and Ultra Vegito Blue. So I will actually go Frieza in great. Tag Gammas. I think the prep mode here is a better version than the Buu Duo, just because you're not locked in, so you can use it more strategically. Plus the Gammas overall were just a better unit than the Buu Duo on release, so I'll put it a tier above Imma. Orange Piccolo. This guy's gauge was a one-time use disrupt that really didn't do much. It stopped the combo in most cases, but that's about it. It's a one-time use, so I can't value it a lot. It's going next to the Gammas Imma. Super Saiyan Blue Shallot. The only form of Shallot that has a unique gauge, and it wasn't really the best. Again, I don't like the one-time use unique gauges. It's a one-time buff that gives him double card draw speed and cover null, if I'm not mistaken. So it was decent, but it's a one-time use at the end of the day, so I'm not really gonna value it a lot. Next to Orange Piccolo and the Gammas. Ultra Vegito Blue. The real talk starts right here. Ultra Vegito Blue, the way his gauge flowed so well with his kit, him having that double card draw speed on the first entry and the vanish removal, so you can start quick combos and do very long combos. The constant cover null that gauge gives, and the strike card, and you don't have to use any card to reset it. Very similar to Blue Beast Gohan, but actually resets itself. So I will actually put it in top of gray, like the top of gray, very close to insane. Purple Cell. This is the new Cell, and I think this gauge was actually very good. It gave him vanish recovery, double card draw speed, so just a lot of good buffs. and it fills up fairly fast, resets fast as well. I think his green card can charge unique gauge, so easily a great gauge. Blue Namek Goku. So this is a charge type unique gauge, and when you fill it up, you can grab, I think, double card draw speed with his green card. His green card can replenish the gauge, and when the gauge is filled up, you have that lock-in ult. That lock-in ult really gives some very good points to this guy, especially with him being a very good powerhouse and him doing a lot of damage on his release. So I'm gonna put it top of OK. Path to Power Kid Goku. I think this is one of the weaker gauges that pretty much did nothing, because it filled up with these Dragon Balls, but it didn't really give a lot of buffs. It was the actual Dragon Ball cards that allowed him to get Coverall and all that good stuff, get him going, and with his long combos and all that good stuff. Kid Goku on release was a good unit, but his gauge really did nothing, so he's going in trash. Ultra Super Janemba. Okay, this guy was very gauge carried. He had a strike counter that gives him an ultimate that is comboable the first time it pops. This was easily a very good gauge, and it's easily going in great. Revival Pikkon. This really wasn't the greatest gauge because it took a while to fill up, and you had no reliable ways of filling it up when you're with Gogeta. It gives a lot of damage buffs and all, but you really have to fill it up with Pikkon before you revive. So I'ma put it in meh. Evoken. One of my favorite units on release. They didn't age the greatest, but nonetheless, their unique gauge was very, very good. Flows really well with what they want to do, which is infinite combos. It gives them a full hand of cards. It fills up really slowly at first, but the charge rate increases every time you fill it up, and it becomes really, really fast at the end. Gives them Coverall, a full hand of cards, so it allows them to do their infinite combos. Easily a great gauge. Red Beast Gohan. First of all, my goat. Second of all, this guy's gauge is really complicated because he has actually two gauges. Pre-transformation, he has a sustained damage cut gauge, so you need to take hits, but when it's filled up, when you transform, when you click that main ability, he's gonna reduce the enemy vanish, and it was such a broken ability back then. His charge type gauge, post-transformation, filled up fairly easily and fast, and it allowed his blue card to go type neutral if I'm not mistaken, and it made it hit way hard. His blue cards are the main key of his kit back then, so I'm gonna put this guy's unique gauge in OK. Goku and Bardock. Nothing much to say because it barely does anything. Trash. Spirit Bomb Goku. This unique gauge filled up in two ways. It was with both using cards and taking hits, so it filled up fairly fast. And I don't remember it doing much other than just making his main ability be able to do stuff when the enemy has dead members. So you need to have that gauge up to be able to reduce the enemy vanish when he only has one battle member left, and lock them in when they has two, and etc. So nothing much really. The gauge itself didn't do much, so it's meh. Ultra UI Sign Goku. So far I think this is the best unique gauge we looked at. It mixes the UI insane gameplay, the stalling and all that good stuff with combo breaking through him having the ability to flip out of combos with consuming that unique gauge. Easily on top of insane, so far the best unique gauge. Super 17. My hatred for this unit really gets me tempted to put this guy in trash regardless. His gauge though was insane. It constantly gave him Coverall, gave him a blast card every time it fills up. So it allows him to do his long combos and his insane damage. And the first time he enters the battlefield and clicks a card, he's actually gonna fill it up fully the first time to grab Coverall right away. Very insane, and with how good Super 17 was on release, easily a great gauge. Super Vegeta. Alright, hear me out right here. The gauge itself was actually crazy. Super Vegeta's gauge itself was insane. It just took way too long to fill up. But the buffs it gave, like it was type neutral, vanish back, Coverall, it allowed Super Vegeta to actually become a usable unit. But pre-unique gauge, Super Vegeta felt like a 2021 unit, so we're gonna put this in mid. Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. First of all, my goal. Second of all, I mean, this guy was insane on release, and the unique gauge, insane as well. Combo breaking, you can launch a blue card after that. So, not much to say. I think it's gonna go great. Super Baby 2. Alright, this is a very good unique gauge. It was very similar to Ultra Broly, where you can just reduce the enemy vanish, but it doesn't replenish itself. You have to use a blue card first, but when the gauge is full, you can launch a blue card that goes type neutral, and when the gauge is full as well, you can do a lock-in ult So it's of course a great gauge. Ultra Golden Frieza. The only thing I remember about Golden Frieza's unique gauge is that it gave him double card draw speed. So I don't remember much about his gauge other than just giving him double card draw speed. So I'll just put it in mid. Revival Nappa. This guy's gauge really didn't do much. I think you can just consume it post transformation with the green card to grab Covernal, I guess, and type neutral with the blue. So it's going into meh. Fusion Super Vegito. This is a one that I think a lot of people will sleep on. Fusion Super Vegito's gauge was actually very, very good because it allowed him to go defensively neutral permanently for the whole game, and it gave him 50% of his synchro gauge, and it filled up when you get 7 Dragon Balls. Very slept on in my opinion, so I'll put it in great or okay. We'll put it in top of okay, alright, top of okay. Fusing Gogeta Blue. This guy's unique gauge, in my opinion, was worse than Vegito's. It allowed him to go type neutral with the blue card, and I think that's about it. Maybe some, I don't know, nullification that nobody cares about, but it's just meh. LF Midku. Yes, Midku. Yes, Midku. Regardless if I call him mid or not, his gauge was very, very good. His gauge was probably the best thing in his kit, giving him that type neutrality, that cover null, and with his platinum equipment, he starts with 100% gauge, which is very, very good. He has a good charge rate to the gauge as well, so nothing much to say about it. It's a great gauge. Ultimate Gohan. First of all, Mago. Second of all, this guy, similar to Red Beast Gohan, had 2 unique gauges. The first one was a time type gauge that allowed him to go type neutral defensively for 20 counts, I think. But that's about it. That's about everything I remember. But once you fill up that time gauge, you go to the attack gauge that generates him a lot of blue cards, similar to USG. But in this case, his blue card is way more ridiculous because it nullifies endurance. It's a long range blue, gives him a green card. The green card that is able to restore his vanish. So overall, Ultimate Gohan, the way his gauge flows very well with his kit, I think it's a great gauge for sure. Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Probably one of the best unique gauges we've seen so far. It counters everything in the game except a rush. Nothing more to say. You can use it 3 times a match. When you get to 50%, he's gonna get 100% of that gauge. It was his only defensive tool on his release. G4 for sure didn't have the best lifespan, but regardless, on release he was broken, and this gauge was part of the reason why he was broken so easily. Insane. Omega Shenron. I think this is the definition of an okay gauge because it gave him very good buffs, but it determined on his Dragon Balls. Like you need to use a card with a Dragon Ball, I think, to deplete it. So once you get your rush, it kind of becomes difficult for Omega to flow well. So I'm gonna put it in okay. Red Broly. His gauge wasn't bad. Pre-transformation, I think when you fill up his gauge, you get the access to the Vanish recovery when you transform. And post-transformation, it resets. The gauge resets every time you fill it up, and it gives a bunch of cards, so it wasn't bad. With Broly being not a very good unit on his release, I'll put it in mid. Tree of Might Goku. This is a very good unique gauge that I think a lot of people sleep on. It gave him a lot of healing, a lot of disrupt. That gauge is part of the reason why the combination of Tree of Might Goku and Ultra Turles is such a ridiculous combination. So I think, great, easily. Ultra Turles. I don't remember his unique gauge doing much. It got consumed a lot. I think it made his blue card go type neutral. And it made his green card, I think, heal him or grab cover. Something like that. I don't exactly remember, but it's meh. It's really nothing much. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This guy's gauge was very, very good. I think when you fill it up, you get access to the Vanish recovery on the green card plus the cover null. And I think the type neutrality on the blue card as well. So I think overall it was decent, but nothing much. So I'll put it in mid. Ultra Majin Vegeta. Are you waiting for me to say something? Yeah, man. Let's move on. Transforming Vegito Blue. This guy's gauge was really something. When you fill it up, it gives you double card draw speed. It gives you 10 counts of cover null and nullification to counter gauges. It gives you some disrupt immunity. So the main objective of this guy pre-transformation is just filling up his unique gauge, which he can easily do if he has a green card, or when he pops a counter gauge, which at the time was relevant with Ultra Majin Vegeta. He gets more charge rate after that, so it fills up fast. When the unique gauge is full, when he transforms, he's gonna get 10 counts of nullifying the counter gauges and cover null. And he's gonna get a full hand of cards with Vanish back and all that good stuff. And he has permanent double card draw speed after he fills up that unique gauge. So it's probably at the top of great. Very close to insane. Yellow Goku Black. I don't want to say this is trash, but this gauge really was the biggest problem with the unit himself and why he was underwhelming and all. This guy's gauge had one problem, which is the lack of ways to reset it. When you can't reset a unique gauge that's disrupting while you're a defense type that's supposed to disrupt, the gauge is really almost worthless. So I'll put it in I don't want to put it trash. Red Daima Goku. This guy's gauge was actually very good. It fills up relatively fast. When you fill it up, you can get a green card, and that green card draws you a blue card. The blue card, when the gauge is full, it's gonna be able to lock in the opponent. So with these gauge, it's gonna be a very good sniper. It flows very well with these kits, so I'm gonna put it in okay. Transforming Super Saiyan 3 Goku. A lot of people hate this guy. His unique gauge really wasn't the greatest. Pre-transformation, just like Vegito Blue, very similar to Vegito Blue. Your main objective is just to fill up that unique gauge by charging, and when you transform, you're gonna get a full hand of cards. When the unique gauge is full, you're gonna get your Vanish back, you're gonna get 10 counts of cover null, you're gonna get card destruction null, you're gonna get a lot of good stuff. His green card, when you have some unique gauge, you can consume it and draw cards, locking the opponent. And his only way of actually gaining type neutral was through his blue card, and it relies on his unique gauge. You need to consume some of the unique gauge when you use a blue card to get that type neutrality. So I will put the unique gauge in okay. Ultra Beast Gohan. First of all, my GOAT. Second of all, this guy's unique gauge was very good. Had a very good control of the game, just like Go Frieza. But this guy can counter ults as well, not just rushes. And he does damage on top of that. That damage was very good because he goes type neutral with it. Plus the fact that he has buff cancellation in his kit, which means that he was a very good counter to the meta. So Vegito Blue cannot just nullify his counter because he's gonna remove his buffs. Overall, a very great unique gauge. Of course, is gonna go in great. Gohan and Trunks. It's a time type unique gauge. Fills up, I think, every time you tag switch, and of course with time. You start the fight with around 80% of it, so the first flow is good. It gives you 10 counts of cover null, and it gives you double card draw speed as long as it's up. Very good unique gauge. I'll put it top of okay. Merged Zamasu. I feel like this guy's gauge is very underrated. He has two gauges and they both work very well depending on the situation. They designed this guy to be the adaptation king, and I think he's a very good adaptation guy. He's not the king or anything, but he adapts very well. He has two types of unique gauges. One is an attack type and one is a sustained damage cut type. The attack type gauge, whenever he uses a card when he's attacking, it's gonna fill up. And when he consumes the gauge, he's gonna get double card draw speed, 5 counts of cover null, so very good stuff. And the sustained damage cut unique gauge is gonna disrupt the enemy, and it can actually reset this time, unlike Goku Black. So it's gonna go top of okay as well. Instant Transmission Goku. I think this one is an underrated one as well. This guy with his unique gauge can give support and healing to the team. Plus he can do his lock-in ult when his gauge is full. Nothing much really, but the lock-in ult is very good regardless. So we'll put him in around here, mid. Ultra Cell. This guy relied on his unique gauge quite a lot. The way you want to play with it is you want to leave it slightly not filled before you switch out of him. So when you switch back in, you can just hit the ultimate right away, type neutral, nuke someone, because his ultimate was a nuke. So the way his gauge flowed with his K was very good. Him having that double card draw speed and him having that neutral with his unique gauge was very useful. And if you play well with Cell, his gauge will be easily right here in the top of great. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. I don't even know what this thing does. Trash. Just like Super Vegito. It's just there to be there. Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku. This is one of the best unique gauges in the game. Very similar to Blue Beast Gohan. Fills up relatively fast. When it's filled up, you have two options. You can use a card to deplete it, continue the combo, get a bunch of cards, 10 counts of cover null, so you can go the long combo route, or you can hit a blue card, get your Vanish back, go type neutral, do big damage. Very good unique gauge. I think it's going in insane easily. Demon King Piccolo, it charges every time he gets a Dragon Ball and it doesn't do much. Trash. The unit himself is trash. Yellow Kid Goku. This guy had a very decent unique gauge. It took a little while to fill up and you can't reset it a lot. It only resets once when the indestructible pops. But once you fill it up, you can get cover null, you can get hand protection, you can get a full hand of cards and build up a lot of the damage that Kid Goku needed on his release. He was a decent unit, so I'll put this in okay. Evolution Blue Vegeta. This gauge was probably the biggest reason with Evo Vegeta's release. It just took a while to fill up, just like Dragon Fist, but probably even more. You need to invest around 60 to 100 counts just to get this gauge to level 3, but the end result wasn't really much. He could do decently long combos, but he wasn't doing the greatest damage, so I really don't like this gauge. I don't want to say it's trash, but I'll put it in Blue MUI Goku. The UI gauge, the same thing that applies to Red MUI, applies to this guy. I think this guy has even more ways to get it back through his green card and whenever he faces an enemy, which is very, very good. And with how good Blue UI was on release, easily insane. Just a tad better than Red MUI in my opinion. Revival Vegeta. He had a charge type unique gauge that really didn't give much. It gave him like card draw speed and it replenished his disrupt, which is pretty useful, but overall I'll put it in mid. Kaioken Goku. This is actually a big one. Kaioken Goku's gauge, him having that constant disrupt, fills up extremely fast, faster than even Fusion Zamasu, and him being a bulky unit with how good Kaioken Goku was, easily a great gauge. Ultra Namek Goku. This guy has a ridiculous unique gauge. The lock-in on switch, the support, the ally healing, everything he just gives with that unique gauge, absolutely crazy. Easily an insane gauge. That lock-in, just that lock-in itself is crazy. Ultra Full Power Frieza. His gauge filled up really slowly, I'd say, but once you fill it up, you can do that big boy death beam that allows you to go type neutral, grabs you a card, gives you endurance null, and you can fill his gauge as well with the main ability by 100%, so I think it flows really well with his kit. A great gauge. Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. She has a great gauge as well. It's a charge type gauge that switches into a release type when it's filled up. She gets immunity to attribute downgrade, which allows her to go through most of the disrupt that is in the meta right now. Plus the fact that she gets, I think, hand protection permanently, 5 counts of cover null, double card draw speed if I'm not mistaken, and just draws a card when it's filled up. Easily a great gauge. Metal Cooler, the unit is bad, the gauge is bad, does nothing, trash. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. This guy's gauge, very, very good. The fact that when it's filled up, he's gonna reduce his own sub counts by 5 when he's on standby. You can play like Ultra Cell in this situation. When it's close to filled up, you switch out, and then he reduces 5 counts to himself on standby, which allows him to come back, and when he comes back, he can do the switch attack, and with every card he uses when the gauge is full, he consumes 30% of the release gauge, gets an additional card, more ki, infinite ki, his combo potential becomes insane with the unique gauge, just because of the fact that you have infinite cards, while this guy's unique gauge is full, so easily a great gauge on top of Grey, very, very good. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know in the comment section below what do you think about my rankings and what do you think is the best unique gauge in the game. You can see right here that I think it's Ultra Majin Vegeta, but you might have a different opinion, so let me know about that in the comment section below. So thank you guys for watching the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.